Okay, thank you for watching today. This is Spoken Anthony, of course. And now I came across this video on TikTok that I was kind of surprised about. It was from this woman called Alexsamoss. I didn't watch the whole entire thing. I did start part of it. I kind of want to watch the rest of it with you guys. It's not a long video at all, but she was pretty much saying that how women has essentially fetishized and glorified street men, and she believes we should stop it. I kind of want to give my opinions on that. Me personally, I will say that there is this thing in the cause to the black community in general, to where that you're not necessarily seen as a real man unless you're a street man out there doing stereotypical stuff. However, though, if you're a type of man that wants to go to school or just has a good job, that kind of man is not normally valued until you're in your 30s. When you're young, you want the Little Waynes or NBA young boys, things like that. But when you get older, a lot of women tend to get older. They want the Russell Wilsons, but however, by that time, and don't take offense when I say this, a lot of the time, women have made a lot of bad choices with low quality men that they have kids with, and they expect other men to step up to make up for the mistakes they may have made. Not necessarily the kid itself is a mistake. Well, technically it is, but the mistake of making a bad choice to have a partner that's not going to be there. I mean, typically speaking, if you're dating a man that tells you, hey, I don't want kids, I'm not going to be there, all this other kind of stuff, and you still choose to continue to keep dealing with them, and then you end up getting pregnant, in some cases to try to trap them, in some cases you're just caught up in the moment and you're just being careless, what can you expect? So let's see what she has to say about this whole entire situation.
There's some kind of fetish with street dudes because we mistake them as being more masculine. I really wish that women would stop putting street dudes on a pedestal. And I mean, you see how Glorilla's song, she was talking about the type of dude that she wanted, and that's cool because she's selling you an illusion. And don't get me wrong, I love that song. I like Glorilla. But she's romanticizing and sexualizing the type of guy that you keep saying that you don't want. If we actually held ourselves accountable for the type of men that we chose, I don't think we would keep romanticizing men that are in survival mode.
And that's a very interesting thing to say. If we actually held ourselves accountable for the men that we chose, that's a very powerful statement that you said there. And the same thing can be said about men and the women that we choose. Let's be real here. I'm guilty of this too. When I was younger, I didn't choose the best quality of woman. I chose the woman that would give me what I wanted at that particular moment in time. I'm guilty of that. It is what it is. But what I can say is, once I made a mistake, and I'm going to say a mistake, of getting the wrong woman pregnant, I made sure not to get another woman pregnant again. I don't have 5 kids by three different baby mamas, right? I learned my lesson. I was like, okay, I'm going to step up, be a man, take care of my kid. And here we are today. I'm still 40 years old, 1 kid. My kid's about to graduate high school with honors, and I couldn't be happier. Mainly because I learned self-discipline and accountability, and that's what she seems like she's referring to here.
I've actually never dated a street guy that was very protective. It's a complete myth that they're more masculine and more protective, and they're actually more combative, and they lack a lot of emotional maturity because they're in survival mode. They're not trying to love you.
Well, you got to understand where they learned that from. A lot of the time, a lot of street men are products of single mothers. And what do they got to do? They got to be combative because they see their mother still choosing those sorry men. And they got to normally, a lot of the times, fight those men. They pick up those habits from those men. And they see an emotionally unstable mother because she's dealing with the wrong man over and over again. So yes, a street dude is naturally going to be combative because that's all he saw growing up. So it's one of those things. I'm glad what she's saying is that will help break the cycle if women chose better men. Because let's be real here. Let's be 100% honest. A lot of the time, men, we produce or we put out a product that we think women will like. So women tend, like when I was growing up, the biggest thing was like guys like the Hot Boys and Lil Wayne and things of that nature, right? The street men, Cash Money, Master P, things like that, right? Jay-Z, etc. So whenever you see women glorifying saying that they'll do X, Y, and Z to be with this man. They'll make this kind of exception. I don't care how many baby mamas he have. I still want to be with him. When men see that, they're going to do what they think women are attracted to. So if women are saying they're attracted to this kind of guy that is pushed out in the media, that's not necessarily the best example in the world. Men are going to do that. If women said, hey, I found more men attractive that was more studious, that had a good job, that didn't do illegal stuff, men would do that. Men chase women. Men chase what women think they want. So I'm not saying it's 100% on them, but I know a lot of men that will switch up the way they look, how they talk, how they walk, that had nothing to do with the ghetto or the hood or any bad neighborhoods at all, just so they can get the attention of some women. And if you think about it, whenever you see a white boy cosplay as a black person, how they know to cosplay him as a street guy? I'm just saying, think about it. What was that guy who's a quarter? Is he a quarterback? What's his name? Taylor Swift's boyfriend, Travis Kelce. When he was dating a black woman, what did people say? He had flavor. He was spicy white. He was more of a street-looking white dude appearance until he got with a white woman, and now he looks like a police officer. Men will sit here and change how they look and act depending on the woman they want.
I don't care how many black movies that they create where the love is so toxic, and then for some reason, especially in the black community, we romanticize these toxic relationships, and then we romanticize these guys and say that we want this Russell Wilson, Sierra type of love, but we're never going to get there if we keep talking about we want a hood dude.
And truthfully, the Russell Wilson Sierra thing is such an exception that nobody's really ever going to get that again. Let's be 100% clear. Most women who has a kid by another man who is like Future would not be able to keep and maintain a man like Russell Wilson. Even Sierra is starting in some areas, at least to the general public, comes out and disrespects Russell Wilson to where a lot of people don't accept her behavior or like it. They're still together, so clearly they had those conversations and it's fine. But it's one of those things there that you can't sit here and base or think that kind of thing will happen to you. That was the exception. Sierra is already rich. She's a beautiful woman. She takes very well care of herself. And clearly Future doesn't want to be in the picture. You can't say that for all these other women who have baby daddies out there, because 9 times out of 10, in spite of what the media may say, black men want to be in their kids' lives. Black men are going to fight to be in their kids' lives. I don't know a black man personally that has ever walked away from a kid's life.
Especially if you're not a hood chick, they see you as naive and gullible. Don't let the hype fool you where they're like, oh, you're wifey material because you speak a certain way and dress a certain way. The only difference is that hood chicks know exactly what type of time a street dude is on. There is nothing that you'll understand about a person that can analyze, observe you.
And I'll say something else about the hood chick. That hood chick will be a hood chick until she's in her 40s. And then she wants to be a corporate chick. And when she's a corporate chick, she tries to change, but a lot of times those hood mentalities will still come out. So there's a lot of these things that if it's caught early enough, we can improve ourselves so much overall.
And know how to get what they want from you, because where they're from, there's less resources. Their survival mode makes you navigate differently through life. And I know this because I've experienced this. If you don't come from struggle, the way you view the world in relationships are just different.
And she's almost done the video, but the final thing I'm going to say, whenever you date a woman, like I fell in love with a woman at one point in time that was that came from the struggles and survival mode a lot. And I didn't realize how deep her problems ran until we got into a relationship, how much distrust she had from other men and people that let her down in her life that sat here and bled into our relationship that causes problems and eventually for us to break up. because I was always judged of everybody that betrayed her. I never got a fair shot of just you just judging me for me. And she was always looking for something to be wrong. She just couldn't be happy. It was one of those things that it didn't matter if things was going great, she will find a problem somewhere. And it was unfortunate, it was because of the trauma she grew up with. And instead of her actually taking the time to heal and grow and learn from that trauma, she let it come into our relationship and it caused so many problems. So it's unfortunate because these women want better men, but unfortunately, whenever they have all these issues with the man and they never truly heal from it, that they can't do anything better. They'll have somebody better and they don't mess it up and then they won't take accountability for it.
So if you're from the suburbs and people, and you speak a certain way, you have a certain disposition and demeanor. Trust me, you do not align with no street dude, and they see you as silly and naive.
And that's all I really wanted to say for this video. Thank you guys for watching with me. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, comment,